All right, everybody. Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you once again. Thank you for putting up with me on these frequent updates. We have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings to get to, and one right now in Montana that's behind me. A severe thunderstorm is approaching the area. All of the flashing blue and white that you see there, a very large hail core with this storm system, and as it's moving to the northeast at a very fast clip. This one's tough to keep up with, folks. It's moving at 60 miles per hour. You can't outrun that. And when thunderstorms that are moving at 60 miles per hour burst out some gusty winds, those gusty winds could indeed exceed very high levels, even 70 miles per hour or more. The National Weather Service says a considerable threat from this storm that's just south of the Glendive, Montana area right now with 1-inch diameter hail and 70-mile-per-hour winds is on its way. Good news for Glendive is that the brunt of this system looks to be passing you just to the south and just to the east. So if you're familiar with Glendive and the I-94 corridor there heading out towards Beach, North Dakota and Webo, it's going to pass between Glendive and Webo. Likely the best chance in and around the Glendive area will be out near Makoshika State Park out there on the east side of town. Here is a look at that hail core, and I'll show you the motion of the storm over the last several scans. Again, it's moving at 60 miles per hour, so you can see its movement is going to carry it very close. The largest of the hailstones, so right here, and those are going to be sliding on the south and east side of Glendive. Here is the look. Now, Glendive isn't a huge community, but certainly a lot of agriculture there in the Yellowstone Valley, and also it's moving very close to town. So as far as the crow flies, let me give you some measurements here. As far as the crow flies, the heaviest or the largest of the hailstones appears to be right here. Let me see. Try that one more time. There it is. It is only 10 miles just off to the southeast of town, heading in that general direction of the I-94 corridor right now with a gusty wind potential. The backward C shape would indicate that there is probably some very gusty winds associated with this storm at this particular time, and huge hail right here where we see these whites and these pinks associated with this particular storm. So it's only 10 miles away, moving at 60 miles per hour. That's 1/6 of an hour. You're talking about 10 minutes or so. It'll be right over the I-94 corridor, or maybe a little less, because it takes time for these scans to come in from our perspective here. So let's go ahead and track this storm moving at 60 miles per hour. I don't even know if I can do an adequate job of that, but I'm going to sure give it a heck of a try. Here's the leading edge of the central part of the storm where the core of the hail is. It's moving to the northeast, not at 1, not at 20, not at 40, 55, 60, 60 miles per hour. Right now, that's going to put this storm in these areas of red that you see right here. And again, there's no major communities in the path of the storm other than Glendive right now. In Glendive, even the strongest of the winds will likely be just on the east side of the town, because when the rain and the hail falls out of a storm, it hits the ground with the cool, dense air, and it spreads out in what we call a gust front. And that gust front is going to blow from the southwest to northeast. So severe thunderstorm warning, Glendive, Montana. Take your appropriate precautions. Gusty winds over 60 miles per hour will be possible. I think the best chance of that will be just outside of town. And you go to the east. There's the Highway 200 south exit right there on the west side of town heading out towards Circle. So that's what's going on there. We have a strong storm and a severe thunderstorm warning as well for the Glendive, Montana area, as well as Dickinson, North Dakota, Richardson, Taylor for that storm we were covering just moments ago. If you do have a question, drop a line, let me know. I'll try to get to those here as we go through. How is Garrison looking? We're camping. Alyssa, I'll get to you. Do not go anywhere. Deb, thank you for your support of stars as well. And let me look on the national channel here too, because I'm broadcasting on all channels. Hey, Scott, good to keep you online, and thank you very, very much for joining me. Keep it away from beach. Yeah, if you're out in beach, it's heading in your general direction, but likely to the north of you, and it's moving at a fast clip. You're not out of the woods, though, because more storms are expected to form. Let me show you what's going on in North Dakota right now. I hope that covers the questions that I have coming in right at this time. So in Dickinson, I'm going to have to switch to the Bismarck radar here to get a closer view, and look at the line. Look at the line of storms here as we go through. If you're in Newtown, Kenmare, south of Kenmare, all the way down in towards well, that would be Bison down there. Let's see, as we head down in that area of Lemon, South Dakota, Mott, these are some nasty storms. If I loop it, you'll see that they're generally moving in that same south to north trajectory with the very, very strong south winds in the area. These are also going to be moving at a very fast clip. So in the Dickinson area, it does look like the brunt of the storm is just off to the east of you, passing through Richardson and Taylor right now. So if you're in these areas, you should be preparing for some very gusty straight line winds. This backward C shape right right here, some very strong winds in and about that area with the hail core right here. This storm, again, moving north at 66 miles per hour, has a threat of 3/4 inch diameter hail. So not quite severe hail. It'll still leave a knot on your head, but it does look like gusty winds will be the main threat from this storm as it's blowing through the Taylor area, Richardson area right now, just north of town. So over there by the factories out there that produce the ethanol. Now, as we look up at the Halliday area, Golden Valley, Dodge, you guys are seeing a strong storm moving on the west side of Lake Sakakawea right now. So if you're out in these areas, we have very stout storms. Right now, they're not in Beulah, they're not in Hazen. They are just off to the west of you and moving north. But look at what's going on in Mott and Lemon, South Dakota. These cells will be moving in this general direction of you folks in Glen Olin and you folks out there in New Salem. You can expect some of these storms to be progressing your way, as well as Grant County here for Elgin, New Leipzig, and out towards Carson. So that's the activity. Now, take a look at this, and I do want to highlight this. These storms are firing off with quite a bit of intensity right now, and we can tell they're intense here when we see areas with the blues and the greens. That's higher reflectivity amounts here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the movement of the storms to the north at 40 miles per hour and the intensity of the storms and where they're firing. And let's compare it to the watch box that the Storm Prediction Center and National Weather Service have issued. I believe this is on the far eastern side of the watch box. So let me pop that out here. Okay, so here we go. Severe thunderstorm watches. Yes, it is. These storms just fired up and they are on the extreme eastern edge of the watch area. So does that mean we'll have a chance at some severe weather outside of the watch box area? You betcha. These storms fired up a little bit farther east than expected, and because of that, I do think that we'll see some of this reaching out into Grant County. They're moving on a fairly straight northerly pattern, but the general overall risk is for them to slowly glide off to the east as well. If you have a report of severe weather, pass it along to your local authorities, and you can share them with all of us right here live on Hutch's broadcast by going to hutchesweather.com and uploading your content right there. So we'll take a quick brief timeout from covering the storms. We'll get right back to that in a second. And again, if you go over to Hutch's Weather, let me see where I can find it. It's right over here. Okay, so if you go to Hutch's Weather, when you load it up right now, you can open a new tab and open it up. You're going to see the live broadcast going on right now. You can click there. You can see it on your computer anywhere, or even if you're watching this website from your phone, you can see it there. Here's your interactive radar. So you just scroll down and you can get to that. You can zoom into your area. If you live in Glendive, you say, yep, Hutch's radar says that storm is racing through here toward the Knife River area at this time. Notice that storm now moving almost due north as it's passing through the Glendive area. And look what's going on out here west or east of Dickinson, rather. When we look out at the Richardson Taylor area, you can see those storms spinning around a huge area of low pressure there. So you can track the storms, but down at the bottom of the page, upload your photos and videos there. I appreciate you sharing your content with me, and I will get a note from my website here. Lets me know that you've got something that's coming in so we can keep track of it in real time. So severe thunderstorm warning for the Dickinson, Richardson, Taylor area is in effect, and that is in effect until 7:45 Central Time. But you know, Mountain Time, that's 6:45. So make sure you're making those conversions for you. Here's a look at that radar once again as the storms are heading up toward Newtown. A couple of them could have some hail that are close to 1 inch in diameter or so. Now let me go to the latest scan here. We know these things are racing northward towards Halliday. So you got one group of storms that have moved through Halliday with very heavy rain and some hail. And then here comes some more on the way in a process we call training. And these storms are going to go over already areas that have gotten some heavy rain. So let's take a quick look. I know you need some rain out in the western part of the Dakotas. Let's take a quick look at how much rain has fallen in these areas as we take, let me load that up, pardon me, while I'm scratching my head and thinking at the same time. It's hard to do that sometimes. So now let's go ahead and look at the rainfall estimate space. Well, let's look at the hail, maximum hail size possibilities here with this cell. If it'll load that up for me, it might take a little bit of time. Probability of severe hail. I'm not seeing that load up again. So let me see. There's something going on with the software when I start trying to load in some different content here. So let me go back to the amount of rain. Oh, I saw it. That was echo tops here. Okay, let me pause this. Okay, so I think this is all coming in here. So what it's doing is it's loading some echo tops here. Oh, maybe it's because of this. I'm learning as I go here, so I appreciate your patience with me. I might have the timeline here going out a little bit too far, so let's go with that. And now let's go to the most recent scan. There it is. So it's loading up the look at the echo top. So what you're looking at is a cloud top heights here. The higher they go in the atmosphere, oftentimes indicate where the strongest updrafts with the storm is. And what we're seeing as these storms are moving through Lemon and in towards Mott, these orange colors here. What does that mean? Well, these are cloud tops that are punching upwards of 40,000 feet into the atmosphere. So they're not the highest of cloud tops that we've ever seen, but temperatures here are a little cooler on the western side of the state, where out in the eastern part of the state here in Fargo, temperatures hit close to 85 to 90 degrees. Now, this towering storm near Glendive is 40,000 feet, or estimates thereof, of the cloud top heights. How about what's heading in towards Newtown? Those cloud top heights are about 30 to 40,000 feet. Now, as these storms cross over into parts of central North Dakota tonight, we're talking the Highway 83 corridor between Minot and Bismarck. They could still be strong. And so I'm wondering if there's going to be that risk of severe weather. We can look at a couple of modeled features with regards to that. Let me see if there's any questions from you. What is Grand Forks looking like tonight? Right, Rita, you can sleep with ease in Grand Forks and most of the eastern third of North Dakota. Most of these storms will even stay out of Devil's Lake tonight. By morning, there might be a couple near the Devil's Lake Basin. That's it. I think we're quiet here in the Red River Valley. Thank you for your question. Alyssa, Garrison, yep, that area we just talked about, and it's in this area here. So if you are in Garrison, the question is, how strong will these storms be as they cross this boundary here? The energy must be lower in this part of the state so that we don't have quite the same amount of concern for the lift and for the storm strength. But I can tell you, these fired up very quickly, and this whole line is slowly going to make its way north and to the east. So yes, if you are in areas like Washburn or Garrison, there is a chance for some very windy thunderstorms with some hail in the next couple of hours. They're moving very quickly as well up towards Kenmare. So I was trying to get a look at, let me go here to the timeline. Let me go here to the radar. And now let's look at the, well, let's see if I can pull up how fast it's raining. Okay, I'm going to go to another product here. So let's go here. There we go. All right, so now we're looking at the whole region, and what I'm going to load up here is a look at the precipitation, and for that we're going to go down here and take a look at some of the precipitation estimates by the Doppler radar. So let's see if I can load that up. Thank you for being patient with me while I'm still learning this brand new software. Again, thank you for your participation as I try to find out some precipitation information. Okay, so I think, there we go. It should be loaded up. And now if I go ahead and pull up here, Pedro's a little unhappy with the forecast, but let's take a look at what we have here now. So it is just not letting me look at it. So I'm going to go pull up a different product again. And now let's go here, here. Okay. And here we go. And let's take a look at this. Now let's see. Here we go. So this is going to take a look at the amount of precipitation that's fallen. It might take it a second to load up. So as the storms have moved through parts of northeast Montana, Wolf Point out towards Scobie and Plentywood, there's some significant precipitation estimates from the Doppler radar there. Again, thanks for your patience on this. 1 to 2 inches of rain, Wolf Point, into parts of well, the northern parts of your county there. I believe that's Roosevelt County. So north of Poplar, 1 to 2 inches of rain up there. As we look out towards Sidney, Montana, to the west of you, estimates are for a good inch of rain. The storm system that just is making its way through Glendive, the radars are a long ways away, and so it's a little bit harder to estimate. And now when we look up in the Mohall area, rainfall estimates here approach an inch from the storms that have moved through partial as well. Now, some of these are going to have more storms moving through. So the Halliday area, you've had one that's dumped an estimated amount of around 3 to 4 tenths of an inch. But these cells here that are severe are going to be passing through with another few tenths on the way. So narrow bands along these thunderstorm branches that are going to be pushing their way through that will bring that risk for some locally heavy rainfall in a few areas. Will these storms make it off onto the other side? For that, Hutch is going to pop up some model data. So I think I could be pretty efficient at this. I'm going to sure give it a try here. And on this particular model, I'm going to switch right over here and we're going to look over at this high resolution model. And what I want to look at is the energy in the atmosphere that produces thunderstorms and where the cutoff is. So what we can do is we go through time, and I need to tell it how much data I want to load up. So while this is loading, I'll just talk to you about what we're looking at. The colors that you're seeing here represent the energy in the atmosphere available to these thunderstorms to create lift in the atmosphere. So, oh boy, I need to turn that layer off, and now let me redo this. Okay, so here we go. So when hot air rises, we've all heard that, but the speed that it rises will add to the strength of the thunderstorms, and we can estimate where the greatest rising motion of air will be and the speed of the updraft by looking at this convective atmospheric potential energy. So we do see as we go through the evening hours here, as this model's loading up, the model time is below, the now time is up here. So now as this is loading up, let's take it back to now. So here we are with the now time, and it's got this convective energy in the atmosphere just off to the west of Bismarck where the storms are forming, and the time is midnight. So we'll go back just a little bit. You can see it's a lot higher in South Dakota than it is here in North Dakota. But we saw that pretty sharp line develop in North Dakota as well, even though the energy calculated by this computer model is a little bit lower. It does keep some energy in the atmosphere all the way into the wee hours of the morning, but it really drops off quickly. And that's one of the reasons why the cutoff by the Storm Prediction Center and the National Weather Service was for the western edge of where these storms fired. That's where the energy is. So, by this particular model, it's saying, maybe not that big of a chance. But now let's load up this newer model, a newer version of this model. And we'll take a look at that here real quickly and see if it has a difference of opinion from that other model we were looking at. And yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does. So now it's calculating that we have energy in the atmosphere from Dickinson all the way up through the McKenzie County area out there and the beautiful Twin Buttes area and all the way out towards Minot tonight. So these storms, yes, they could make their way into the Highway 83 corridor as we go through the overnight hours. You're looking at the different timestamps here, even into the morning hours tomorrow. The energy in the atmosphere remains stout. So the models are changing now and you're looking at the very latest data right here on the convective energy into the deep overnight hours. Does that mean we're going to have widespread severe? Probably not, but the main threat will be as we go through the overnight hours and into the morning hours tomorrow for the thunderstorms to slowly creep their way eastward. The individual thunderstorm cells are racing northward, 50 to 60 miles per hour, but this whole line is going to advance to the east. Here you can see where the energy in the atmosphere is the greatest to produce the thunderstorms as we step through time. I hope that made sense. If it did, give me a thumbs up or a like, and then let me see if I have any other questions. Indira, thank you very much. I appreciate the stars there. Sherry, thank you so much. And Scott, thank you. Keep the hail away. I'm doing my very goodest. We'll go ahead and do an update now as we've looked at one feature of the storms here as we go through. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our temperatures across the area right now. We're going to look at some now information, including a look at the latest radar data. The storm is through the area of Glendive. So if you're in Glendive, Montana, that storm is just off to the east of you, exiting the area right now. I don't know if it's still windy out there, but it sure looks like it's passed to the north of the I-94 corridor, just off to the east of town, moving into rural parts of Dawson County right now. Now, if you are in the Dickinson area, there is a strong storm that's just moved out of Halliday and another storm that's making its way in towards the Halliday area that is warned. This storm is moving off to the north. Let me see if I can put the information up on that storm. It is moving north at 51 miles per hour now. And let me give you a measurement to how far it is from Halliday. So this hail core that you see right here by my crosshairs is moving towards Halliday rather at 50 miles per hour, and it's only 15 miles away. So it's even less than that now because the new scan just came in. So let me clear this off and let me try a new one. Here we go. Yeah, it's only about 10 miles away from Halliday, moving at 50 miles per hour. So a fifth of an hour, about, 10 minutes away. So it's about 10 minutes away from you folks in Halliday. Another core of hail, and the gusty straight line wind potential will be there with this storm. Unfortunately, because of where the radars are, we can't shoot right into the winds this is producing. The wind with this storm will be punching in from the south, so keep that in mind as it works its way into the general direction of Halliday. And if you are on Lake Sakakawea right now, you want to get out of things like campers. If this storm is producing wind, we do have some pretty good sized hail making its way here on the western reaches of Lake Sakakawea and heading out south of Newtown here. So partial, you're going to see some of this activity slide just off to your east. These are again moving northeast. So not a direct hit for partial at this time, but this stuff down here has a threat or risk of moving towards you, if that makes sense. So hopefully this helps you out here. Glendive, the warning for your area is expiring at 8 o'clock Central. That would be 7 o'clock. So right now we're talking about the next 20 minutes, but that storm has already almost exited the warned area. So chances are it doesn't look like it has the hail potential that it once did, but it could certainly be packing the wind potential. The history of this particular storm as it moved through Montana, you see these little yellow icons here. I have it plotting the storm reports. We had a thunderstorm wind gust of 50 miles per hour when the storm moved through. It looks like Volberg, or 17 miles east-northeast of Volberg, and near the Broadus area. Got to move the map up so I can read this. Near Broadus, we had some nearly 1 inch hail, or 0.88 inch. That's nickel-sized hail as it made its way through what looks like 11 miles southwest of Coldwood. All right, so storms continue in the western Dakotas. They've really blossomed. One in the Rapid City area. If I switch the radar out to that one, let me see. I'm going to have to turn off the line path. There it is. That's moving in the general vicinity of Rapid City right now as it's heading into the southern reaches of the Black Hills near Custer, right very close to the Mount Rushmore area, moving out of Custer towards Hermosa and heading in towards the Rapid City vicinity. That storm warning is for 1 inch diameter hail estimated by radar. There is some blue blinking in there, so some higher reflectivities to support that. And we do have some wind measurements out there, 56 mile per hour winds and gusts from that, but it says non-thunderstorm winds. And what time did that happen? Let me see. That was at the Wind Cave Visitor Center at 6:13 p.m. So a little over an hour ago. They said non-thunderstorm winds, but that's just from the clouds and the interaction of the gusty winds from the south mixing down toward the ground from the jet stream level. That's pretty interesting stuff there, Edgemont. Not uncommon for this area. Looks like a 54 mile per hour wind there as well, non-thunderstorm related. So some of these storms earlier in the evening here did produce some very gusty winds, but not from the particular thunderstorm cells, according to the reports out there. So that's what's heading through the region right now. The forecast is not for these storms to make their way to the Red River Valley tonight. Tomorrow is our chance. And I do think that there is a risk as I take a look at my color pencil here. Let me see if I can turn this on. So the watch ends right about here. That's where the watch ends. But I do think that there's a risk for some stout storms in this area tonight. So if you're in Minot, if you're in Lake Sakakawea, if you're in Garrison, if you're in Underwood, if you're in the Highway 83 corridor, Max, all the way down to Bismarck, and often even off into Emmons County here for you folks in Hazleton, Moffett, and Braddock area and stuff. This area here could see a few of these stronger cells push into your area, but it'll be later tonight. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. My good friend Tom Schrader with Hey Tom is on vacation. He asked me to keep an eye on things, and I'm happy to do it. Hope you're having a good night. If you have questions, drop them here. I'll look to answering them. Otherwise, if storms approach your area, know tonight we could have a few severe gusty straight line winds, and hail will be the #1 risk. With these storms moving so fast, the winds could be quite strong. Likely they will be coming from a south or southwesterly direction and blowing toward the north and northeast. Until next time, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I sure appreciate your likes and your follows on Facebook, your likes and your subscriptions if you hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Thanks so very much. Have a wonderful evening. I'll check back again later, and you can get the latest on hutchesweather.com.